Radiance. I'm sorry to wake you up so early. I had breakfast before I came here. The first time I've made it to breakfast before I got to talk. So that's great. My tie today is from my cat Doofus. And if you haven't seen it, it says, "Hungry is as hungry does." And that's called the Windjammer. And I hope you had a great day in Ecuador yesterday, despite the churchitis. But that's something we get in Latin America on Sundays. My students on the airplane trips, they don't like the Sundays because you don't do anything in the morning. You just wander around and look at shops that are closed. You know, it took him almost 2 hours yesterday to realize all the shops were closed. He's walking around the middle of Manta and he finds finally an internet cafe near the main square. So he did accomplish something. Today, because of the length of this program, I will be showing some of it at my table upstairs in the Windjammer between 1 and 3 using my computer. That's because the program, The Children of the Sun, the Incas, is about Peru. Peru is the #1 site for anthropology inside of the Western Hemisphere, and according to me, the world. John F. Kennedy sent myself and 213 others down here in the early 1960s and the first beginning of the Peace Corps. And I worked in a place called San Marcos when I was just a puppy up in the top, and I had 34 Peace Corps kiddies I checked on. So you'll see a couple slides of me riding and doing other things. I'll point them out because I don't look like me. Well, you'll figure that out. Well, it's BC, before cruising. Hey, you get this chance. You have the best of stops tomorrow, but I need you to get out there. And I don't mean on the beach or by the ship. I need you to get out there. If you're on a tour, great, because you're going to take in more real estate. If you're not, you're going to be like me in a cab heading 11 miles to the east to go see the City of Kings. On August 17th, 1535, the 4 Pizarro brothers set up Lima as the center of Spanish power in South America. Now, Cartagena, you visited, that was the seaport. But 40 different viceroys sat in the chair in Lima. And these 40 viceroys, they all made this place very regimented, very straight. So what you saw yesterday with the people going to church, the church in the state is like this. In fact, the 5 consuls, including the top boy in Madrid, the consul of the Indies, Bishop Fonseca, came straight from Rome. All of the consuls that the king had were bishops from Rome. 3,000 Catholic missionaries came a year to settle in the New World, most of them either in New Spain or Peru. And they expanded the size of this empire. But to me, you have to know about the Inca. Compared to the Egyptians, they were simply amazing. And you're going to see in your museums, you're going to see at some of the archaeological sites, you're going to see a greatness that has never been rivaled. So on the next screen, the largest indigenous empire in the history of the world. Now, as you're looking at that screen, you're seeing words in black that make up the top 8 of 28 pre-Inca civilizations. And you're going to meet and see some of them, and they're gifts to mankind. Whether you're talking about the first adding machine, called a quipu, and those going to the La Cojera Gold Museum will see one of those in the vault room, to the most unusual calendar. Their New Year starts on June 20th. Having studied the Mayan forever and ever, who have 4 calendars, and the Aztecs who copied the Maya, you got to know that the people of the Inca not only did calendars, You're going to see the first sundials inside the Western Hemisphere. But the Inca did something on that map behind me. Do you see the two long black lines that start in southern Colombia and go down to northern Chile? One is a coastal highway. One is the mainland highway. Folks, they're more than 2,800 miles long. 30 men could march abreast on these two highways. The buses you ride in tomorrow will still go over the same roads. And they've got runoffs. They've got humps in them, so they never went underwater. And nowhere do they not have bridges. They are unbelievable in their building. And every day's ride, there's a rest stop. And only their royal army was allowed to use it along with their oligarchy. But that's not the way today. You all be in the buses that go across it. Because besides the two highways that you see up there on the map, there were dozens that went east and west that were smaller. But the Inca developed a terracing that no one has ever touched. There's a legend in Peru about the valley being the home of the rich. And the poor, 96% of the people, had to move up onto the slopes of hills where they built their own land by carrying rocks on their back and building a wall, then carrying dirt in baskets from the bottom of the valley and putting them behind that. There they grow their potatoes. Potatoes first came to us from Peru. They're about the size of $50. They use these wooden foot plows, and you'll see me riding a horse. Well, he wasn't a horse. His mother was frightened by a horse. His name is Hemorrhoids. He was really quite a thing. Peace Corps didn't give us four-wheel vehicles. They gave us, well, you'll see them. I'll be wearing a black hat when you see the slide go by. The bit with the Inca, they started the most unusual class system. I could tell you the names of the 10 classes, but you just got to think. The bottom one is called a Chunka. The top one's called a Torkurak. And they multiply. Everything's a pyramid. I know you've heard of pyramid schemes before, but these people did this because they had famine. So 1/3 of all of the food they produced, they got to eat. 1/3 went to the royal army and the oligarchy, but 1/3 was collected in taxes and kept one day's march apart. The Inca was the most socialistic society, the strongest that you've ever seen. But I need to just see some of the things on the map. Some of the things on the map. He's got a quick button finger over there. He had coffee this morning. First of all, as you go from the north, you see the Chavin and Mochica up in the top. They're the oldest. And as you go further south, you come to some unusual ones, the Nazca Parkus. That's where you find the planes of the ancient astronauts. And you got some tours that fly over these things. I need to show them to you in a few minutes, but you're not going to believe what they made. Stone out of stone. Stone. They did use some adobe. The Chimu up there had the largest city of 200,000. Largest manta that you saw yesterday, living all out of adobe. But the ones that got me was the Tiwanaku. You see them down here, what they called Upper Peru. Today you call it Bolivia after, well, you know that story. I already told you how it got named. But the pre-Inca civilizations, the Inca took the best quality of each civilization, then moved their butts to an unfamiliar location so they couldn't do rebellion. And then they took the leaders, religious and political leaders, and took them to their capital, Cusco. Unfortunately, they've canceled Cusco as a trip because I was going there. I've been there 9 times, and it's really simply amazing. So I had to show you some pictures of it. But anyhow, the Inca and their greatness. There's a lot more. And I'll be answering questions today between 1 and 3 up. And I'm going on with the cruise director and do a TV thing tonight. And I'll be sitting down where you get off in the atrium tomorrow to answer any questions. But let me show you some of these Indians and their greatness. First, the mountains. The clouds are beneath the peak of the mountains. When you pull into Callao tomorrow, it'll be overcast. In the wintertime, it keeps the temperature around 70. You're not going to see too much sun. I mean, I could, get struck by a thunderbolt if I say this. The Sapa Inca is the living god of the Incas. His father's name is Pachacamac. How many are going on a tour to Pachacamac tomorrow? Anyone? Yeah? Okay, well, I'll give you a little preview. The father of Pachacamac is called Viracocha, the rain god. I'll show you them all, because you're going to see them, whether you go to Loch O'Hara Gold Museum tomorrow, or you go to the Museum of Anthropology tomorrow. These are the principal deities. But the first thing to remember, 3 ranges of the Andes Mountains go from the northwest down to the southeast. And between the 3 ranges are 2 high altiplanos. Yesterday, you saw 50% of the people of Ecuador living along the coast. Tomorrow, you're going to see more than 50, close to 70% of the people of Peru living up in the Altiplano. And of course, Lima is near that. Next shot shows you some more of the mountains. Yes, it's cold. And if you're not noticing the temperature changing outside, that's the Humboldt Current, the largest cold water current in the world. And if we have that cloud cover, it's going to cool down to about 70, and that'll be fine until you go further south. Next shot. Some of the mountains are over 19,000 feet. The highest mountain was back in Ecuador, but as we go south, you're going to see all kinds of peaks. And ladies, they're gorgeous. Not just the mountains, it's the way the ice. Because you're going to see 91 glaciers from this ship. I can't tell you the names of all of them, but they do have names. Next shot. People go up there and play in the snow. I'd love to have a snowball to throw at somebody in this room working that laptop right now, but I don't have one. Next shot. Now, you can see how I looked when JFK sent me south. But instead of giving me a Jeep, he gave me this mule called Hemorrhoids. I was for 2 weeks at a time, I'm firmly attached to this mule, coming down from San Marcos, down these super highways to Lima and to Callao to get metal plows to increase the production of the potatoes. And I carried 5 of them back from Callao, where you're going to tie up tomorrow, up to San Marcos. The Indians there said, no. I want what we had for the last 900 years. I watched those 5 plows sit there and sit there. And I said, I'm going to go build something. Next shot. The water, cold and clear. Drinking water, be careful again, though, tomorrow where you're going. I prefer you do bottled water, even though it's much better than where you were yesterday. Next shot. As you get near the coast, the Humboldt Current that you're sitting in right now and cruising south in causes this to happen. Every drop of moisture gets sucked. Now, as we go further south below Lima, you're going to see nice, big, white sand deserts. The Atacama is 823 miles long, the largest desert in the Western Hemisphere. You're going to see it on this cruise. This current caused that. Next shot. You believe in E.T. Now, down in the Pasca area, here's a giant candelabra. It's 120 feet long. It's carved out of stone on the side of a cliff. It points inland to the runways of the ancient astronauts. If you never heard of a man by the name of von Daniken, he got a guy by the name of Leonard Nimoy, Mr. Spock to you guys. He got him to do this video called The Chariot of the Gods. I'm going to show you the landing strip. This points to it, and it's amazing. There's a similar one in Egypt, a similar one in Thailand. Did they come and cross our planet going east to west? That's what they want you to believe. Next shot. You're looking at in the distance, 300 feet wide runways that go 8,000 feet long. Now you're going to see designs up here from monkeys to hummingbirds. Folks, I'm flying a Piper Cub around, and you'll see the shadows of it. I'm taking 3 passengers at a time, or 3 students at a time, from Lima and taking them down to these runways. Some of you tomorrow, who's going on the overflights of this area tomorrow? One of the trips on the ship? I see 1, 2. This is beautiful. But get this, the Indians cut the stone out of stone. You can't tell the shape of it till you're 8,000 feet above it. How many Indians back 4,000 years ago were able to get 8,000 feet above the ground? Think about that. Because when you get to Machu Picchu, the only road goes up to a blast area where they have these sculptures of these saucers and these things in them. And they're not drugs. I mean, there's enough coca here to start a war, but that's not part of the deal. Next shot. These things are gigantic in size. Next shot. The hummingbird points to the end of the one runway. 8,000 feet up to see this hummingbird? Next shot. That's the plane I'm flying. I'm going to land. And there was a 78-year-old German lady that was an expert. And she would take my 3 students. I'd fly back to Lima and get 3 more. And she'd take them around and show them everything. Next shot. Up in upper Peru, there's a lake that separates Peru from upper Peru. It's called Lake Titicaca. And it's the highest lake. And I was there and watched Jacques Cousteau and his brothers gigging frogs. I thought they were going down to Tiwanaku. It's underneath the water, a whole civilization. But they weren't. They were Frenchmen looking for their frogs' legs. It took me a day to figure out what they were doing. And then I had the brother come to BCC and talk to all the students. Amazing family. Next shot. You've heard of these balsa reed islands, boats. Look at this. The boat's made out of balsa reed, the sail's made out of balsa reed, and that gimmick you see in the front of the mast is a balsa reed fish trap. Next shot. Balsa reed islands made with balsa reed houses for up to 110 Indians float across the lake. Next shot. Tomorrow, some of you will go to Pachacamac. This is the Temple of the Moon in Pachacamac. I'm going to flip around here because I have so many pictures to show you. We had to cut them down for today's production. I want you to notice the way the stones are cut. You can't take a credit card or a penknife and stick it between them. Monolithic. It's like a giant Chinese puzzle. The stones fit in so perfectly. And you'll be amazed when you see that. But these have been restored. These aren't the original ones. I'll show you the original ones. Next shot. Oh, how many are going to the Loch O'Hara Gold Museum tomorrow? This is a good one. These are the vault rooms underneath. Now, as you look at just a few pictures, and I have to go on because I don't have enough time. These are silver blankets. Look how they made them in the next shot. That's the soul, the symbol of the sun. And now someone asked me about the currency. I'm trying to think. I think it's called the soul. I think I just had a flash. Revelation, an epiphany just went by. Next shot. Viracocha, the original god. Now this drove the Jesuits crazy, and the Franciscans would translate it wrong. They had one god, did the Tiwanaku. Well, you know what the Incas took from the Tiwanaku? Their religion. And Viracocha is the father of Pachacamac, and some of you are going to that tomorrow. And Pachacamac is the father of the Sapa Inca. It's an amazing power thing where the church and the state are really like that. And after all, a god doesn't make mistakes. So the Sapa Incas got away with a lot. And I can tell you a lot of stories, but I don't have time right now. Viracocha's symbol. Viracocha in a frame. That's not Viracocha. But that's got my belly, so it might be me. Next one. Serapis. I had this on the wall of my apartment for a long time. This is a sacrificial cutting stone. Now, mostly in where you're going tomorrow, you're going to see obsidian stone for sharp edges. This particular thing, you don't want me to describe how it cuts through the breastplate. I'll skip that right now. Next shot. The death mask of the Mochica. The Mochica, the two northern ones, them and the Chavin. They died, they put a mask over your face. Solid gold sometimes, mostly silver. You're going to the third largest silver deposit in the world as we go near Upper Peru. Next shot. Tomorrow, the ones going to La Cojera, you're going to see the finest of carvings. These are solid silver cups, goblets. Oh, the ones going to La Cojera tomorrow, look for the silver fingers. They love to do that, the hands. I don't think I have it up on this, but it's one of the outstanding things inside this museum. Downstairs, there's 4 giant vault rooms in La Cojera. Upstairs, you got everything from tapestries to Gatling guns to the neatest deer farm right outside the windows, if it's still there. They probably have eaten them by now. Next shot. That's a quipu, Q-U-I-P-U. That's the original Inca adding machine. Now, in every rest stop, they had colored strings going across the ceiling. They would knot them. This color would be for potatoes. This would be for fish. This one would be for llama. They didn't eat the llama, but they definitely used the wool. And you're going to see more wall hangings tomorrow. And they're a little too big, I think, to put in your suitcases for that little bit down in Chile, which I still don't have a good answer for because the ship hasn't told me. But right now, you're going to where you're going to see some bargains and some really neat wall hangings and a lot of alpaca, llama, vicuna rugs. I took 28 out the last time. So when I saw this thing with the cruise director a couple nights ago, I'm saying, it doesn't make sense. So the company is checking with Chile now about your purchases, whether it's the Imbara wood carvings from Panama or the hats from Monte Cristi yesterday or what you're going to see tomorrow. You're going to see a lot of things. And bargain again tomorrow. They have native crafts in Lima. When I did it, they had sidewalks. They would lay the stuff out on the sidewalks. At Calle Union. Calle Union. It's in downtown Lima, right off the Plaza de Armas. $1.69 for a bottle of Bacardi. $1.69 for a bottle of Bacardi. Drink it fast. They won't know you took it. We'll know when you try to walk up the gangway. We'll have to push you up the gangway to get back on the ship. But, ladies, the shoes, the bargains for shoes on Calle Union was great. Let me try to show you some more of the Inca, though. Sacsayhuaman, or I always say, sexy woman. Sacsayhuaman is the largest indigenous fortress built in the Americas. Some of the stones are over 200 tons. Here I tried to move one. Now my back hurts. Christ the Redeemer, one of 3 of the Christ Redeemers through the Andes to show you the passageway. Llama. Now wait a second. You see the ears on these turkeys? I'm not telling you because I've already experienced this. My boys' club I would always take to Crandon Park Zoo in Miami to see the llama. When a llama's ears go back, they can hawk and spit up to 30 feet with deadly accuracy. If you get them irritated like Cliff does in one of these pictures, you are going to get a goober. And you are not going to like it. This is Cusco, the land of the high sky. Notice the walls, and you'll see this tomorrow. The bottom 6 feet is all Cusco. Cusco is an Indian civilization, not just the name of the capital of the Inca. They did the monolithic style. On top of it, the Spanish built. On top of that, the Peruvians built. You're going to see foundations tomorrow that are made from the Indians that were called Cusco. And one of the hotels, the biggest hotels, has a foundation on the whole basis of an Inca temple. The Cathedral of the Black Christ. Now, here's where we get a little bit interesting. The Franciscans didn't do their translations right. To them, Christ was a black man. And when they did the translations, it stuck. But let me show you the inside of the church, some more of the gold that I told you about, and look at the difference between the polished gold and the natural gold. Churrasco first is wood carvings. 4 people took their lifetime to carve that sucker. That is shiny gold. That is shinier gold. This is one church. There's 11 altars. This is the baptistry. Now that's solid gold. Here's the Black Christ. The Franciscans translated it, and by gosh, the Cusco Indians, they kept it. And when you go into the church, you're not seeing, well, you won't go, we can't get to this church now. Next one. Church of El Belen in every city you go to is silver. This is the second-ranked church. The top one, 7 tons of gold in the one. 7 tons of gold. El Belen, though, has a silver altar. That's silver. Next one. The Church of the Compañía. You'll always hear these names. The cathedral in Lima be the same as you have here, except it will have Francisco Pizarro's bones in a glass casket as you walk in. That's interesting. Well, not really. It's history, though. Next shot. This is the Plaza de Armas. Can you remember this? I want you to go to the Plaza de Armas in Lima tomorrow so that I can show you, history unfolding. And at noontime, the changing of the guard is worth watching in their winter uniforms with their gold helmets and their red plumes. 12 noon. I don't know what time I'm hoping your tours leave at 8:30. That'll give you plenty of time to be off the bus and on the ground. Next shot. This is the Street of the Moon. Look at these stones. This hasn't been restored. This was done 800 years, well, this was done almost 1,300 years ago. That's the Independence Arch. Next to it is the Bolivar High School. Only high school you'll find in Cusco. That's Bolivar High School. Folklorica, the Indians dance. Let's, guys, put our wallets in our right front pocket tomorrow. Bump and dip is not just in Colombia or Mexico. Ladies, I really don't think you need purses. You can put possessions somewhere else. You go into a big city of almost 4 million people, and it's going to be crowded in places, especially some of the things I'm going to show you, from the Arco Bull Ring to the Plaza San Martin, from the Crillon. You got all kinds of things to see. This afternoon, up in Windjammer, I'll be showing these on my laptop and giving you ideas about tomorrow. The ears go back. Duck, sucker. Next one. That's cute, ladies. That's alpaca. Soft. Next one. 29 years of age, most of those people are. They don't look 29 years of age. He does. He could be 29 months. The aqueduct. Can you believe the Incas from the sacred wells of Popol brought water down to Cusco? There's somebody with a watermelon shirt standing in front of one of the sacred wells. Never mind. This is Pizac. Now, you got to remember the names, because we can't get there. You got Olete Tambo, Pizac, and Sexy Woman, Sacswanon. And then, of course, the key, Machu Picchu, the lost city of the Incas. The Uramba River flows for 3 hours from Cusco. You follow the river on a train made in Czechoslovakia that has to go up a grade, up a grade, up a grade, because you're climbing up 13,000 feet. The Uramba River down there and the train tracks. Now right here, oops, I got to turn that sucker on. Right there, where you see that split, in 1928, a Harvard history professor by the name of Hiram Bingham was looking up from the river, and he saw something glinting up there. And at that location was the lost city of the Incas. 2,000 bodies were all female, and the only road from it went up to this blasted out area in the mountains. It was amazing. Now, it's overgrown here in this picture, but as you watch the following pictures, you'll see how the terraces changed. That one won an award, that picture did. Now, there's a good-looking guy. You skipped over that one fast, didn't you, Dr. Daddy? Now, that's looking down at Machu Picchu. I'm 3,000 feet above. I climbed up onto the peak to take the pictures. Here is the inn with the 10 rooms and these blue Volkswagen buses. You never want to be on the outside as this guy zips down this road, because you're looking down 8,000, 4,000, 2,000, and it doesn't matter. He seems to get closer and closer to the edge. Oh, there's that good-looking guy again wearing his F-Troop shirt, and that's the Urubamba River down behind me, and they're about 15,000 feet up. Now, first thing about the Inca and their construction. The Europeans said they never had portals and doorways that they went through. Hello, what's this thing? The Europeans said they never built round turrets or round walls. That thing. Watch, there's more coming. The clouds come up to you. That makes it kind of eerie and spooky. There's only a couple people up there. Everyone that's there came with you on this train, and it gives it an eerie feeling. The whole city is laid out. These terraces here are called the 33 steps to Viracocha. They're strictly for potatoes and grain. The 3 plateaus that you see through the center separates the hierarchy from the people. And they have everything from an observatory to a jail up there, to a sundial. There's the steps to Viracocha. All through Peru, terracing is done. There, of course, there's no roofs left on them, and you can see the grass growing, wild, but these were the middle-class residences for the people inside of Cusco's favorite, because Machu Picchu is where they had, I don't want to say their timeshares or their condos or anything, but they seem to all go there to worship. Now, that's not exactly a round wall, but not exactly a square wall. That's a better one, though. This is Upper Picchu, where I took those pictures from. I was standing up on top of that one, shooting down. Very few trees. Don't look for them. This is the royal stable area. There's 3s of everything. 3 windows, 3 doors, 3 plazas. Because the god, the one god, Viracocha, had the rain, had the thunder, had the lightning. So everything is in 3s. You'll either see 33 agricultural steps, or you'll see 3 doorways or 3 windows. Another portal. That's the sundial. That's Marco. He's showing off one of my groups, the sundial. Not just a calendar system. We're talking telling time. Unbelievable. That one's restored. You can tell by this. No cement. It's all monolithic. Look at the terraces. Wherever you go in Peru tomorrow, and you aren't going to like the garbage dump in Lima. 55,000 people live in, I'll show it to you. Keep going. There's a good shot of Upper Picchu. There's the inn with these buses. Don't be in the outside window when you ever go there. I was taking him, Dr. Mills, to see it on this cruise. That was why we're here. And I was going to put him on the outside, because then I know he wouldn't need those prunes every morning. Next shot. Tomorrow. This is the Torre Tagle Palace in downtown Lima. How many are going to that one? Torre Tagle is called the Palace of the Inquisition. There's more than 20,000 skeletons underneath it. Hitler took lessons from this place. The man by the name of Lie did 11-volume work on the Inquisition. It was more than just censorship. They stacked up the young reproductive males like cordwood in these these tunnels and these caverns underneath the palace. Loch O'Hara, you're going to his gold museum. This is what the entranceway looks like. This is one of his rooms. This is the garbage dump in Lima. 55,000 people live there. Now, an Indian in Peru that works in the mountains can get 16 cents a week. An Indian who works in General Motors plant down in Lima can get up to $2 a day. You've never seen abject poverty like this. 71% of the people live way below the poverty line. They wait for the trucks to come in and then they pick through the garbage. This is Pachacamac. The ones going to Pachacamac tomorrow will see two things. They will see a very extreme desert, and they will see an enormous pyramid that they will climb. The restored area, you'll notice everything's done in threes again. This is Cusco, and the Marriott is the only building that got a permit to build 6 stories. This is the school, Simon Bolivar High School, the only high school. And then the sun goes down, and you get back on the train, and you go down the Uramba River to Cusco. And then you take Fusco Air, and you were supposed to fly back to meet the ship in Arica. We were supposed to leave in Manta and go to Arica, but it was very expensive, $2,500 for the tour. It's an amazing place. They were amazing people. It's a sorry, sorry way. Those are the terraces of Viracocha. Those are the main plazas going through the middle of town. Overgrown here. There's no one, if they use the llama as mowing machines. The llama just eats all the grass, and that's okay. Here's some of my students. They were amazing. There's 2 of them are 89 in that picture. And they found a drink in Peru called Pisco Sours. Now that's made with aguardiente, and I know some of you are going to touch it. All the way down to Chile. This is the one stuff, I'm telling you, if you get a head cold, it'll clean that snout right out. If you got a wart on your left knee, it'll take the wart right off. I have a problem with my eyes because of the guy sitting over there, so I'm cross-eyed most of the time until I drink a sip of this or even smell it. All of a sudden, I can see again. In where you're going, it's called Pisco, P-I-S-C-O, sour, S-O-U-R. And they sell it in big pitchers. And Helene Smith, she's 89, bless her soul. I know she's passed now, but she could drink me under the table like that. And that was sorry. The Majestic, it's not green now. You guys that were with me, if any of you were with me in Alaska, you saw something entirely different in southeast Alaska. The mountains here are going to be brown. The people, wherever you go, altitude. Now, I gave them all coca tea. Coca tea it's interesting stuff. You go out like that for about 4 hours after and it gets your breathing slowed down, which is important. Let's not try any racing, even though you're not going to high heights. Pachacamac, you might climb up a temple, but no. Next shot. Upper Pishu. Look at the stonework here, the Temple of the Moon in Cusco. None of the stones are the same size, yet they fit together, and you couldn't get a credit card or a penknife between them. Today's Inca are waiting to take pictures with you. Now, a couple of things I want to say in review, because we're supposed to be out of here in 6 minutes. I know. That's why this afternoon. First thing, I'll be up in the Windjammer at that table next to the rail, starboard side, between 1 and 3. I'll bring my computer with me, so I will be showing you Lima. Today was mostly Inca. You didn't get too much Lima. I'll show you the modern buildings and the modern areas on the computer up inside the Windjammer. Tomorrow morning, before you get off the ship, I'll be down in the atrium, down on the very floor. If it's deck 4, and I think it is, I'll be down there and I'll be telling you about places and stuff. Tonight I'll be doing a little special with the cruise director on television about Peru. You just have to go there. You can't stay on the ship. I'm not staying on the ship. And normally that's what I do, because the first 80 times I just ran around crazy. The last 57 times I'm taking it easy. But it is something. Some of the names I want you to remember for tomorrow. First of all, I call it the Plaza de Armas, A-R-A-M-A-S. I noticed in the handbooks and the map they're going to give you tomorrow, they call it the Plaza Mayor. Now, on that plaza is the center of Lima to spread out to. The first thing on the west side is the governmental buildings. Now, you look through the bars and you see the Senate building, you see the representative chamber, and you see the seat of Peruvian government. I want you to notice the men with the black uniforms, the gold helmets, and the red manes. At 12 noon, a procession will come down in front of the cathedral, which is on the north side, and it's half a block away. And this will be very colorfully dressed if they do it the same way. And they will have a band, and you will know they're coming. Now, when you see the pictures today up in Windjammer, you're going to see a lot of military people. Those pictures were taken when the country, and it's been under military or martial law several times. I was fortunate, though. One of my teachers at the War College was Bermudez Morales. He was general. And then he became president of Peru in the 70s. So I have an in. Don't use my name, though, if it's not around him, because some of the others remember me for getting special treatment. I took everybody into the presidential palace the one time. It was neat. And he was there, and he shook hands. It was really quite nice. The presidential palace and the government is on the west side of the Plaza de Armas. On the east side is the main cathedral. And I'll show you the bones in the glass casket upstairs of, oh, you can be showing that right now. Turn that back on. We picked 41 slides for you today. Instead of the Tom and Jerry cartoon, Dr. Mills has got these things I'm talking about. Now, on this north side, the cathedral side, you'll find the Bishop's Palace and a museum. Over on the south side are the mayor of the City Hall buildings. Ladies, you want the east side, opposite the palace. The middle street is called Calle Union. This is where you barter for about 3 blocks over to the Plaza San Marcos. I'll show you all that upstairs this afternoon. He's showing you the cathedral, the Royal Crest. There's Pizarro. He's all skin and bones, though. He mustn't be on a cruise ship. Oh, these 3 got me in trouble. They're students. I called them see no evil, speak no evil, see no evil, heal no evil. And they had to play with, those are all Peruvian Marines behind them. Go ahead. Peruvian MPs, the secret police. Somebody bartering with an Indian. Bartering is good. Oh, now they have stalls. You don't have to bend down. But I'm still going to go looking for those, though. This is the Tambo del Oro, the best restaurant in Lima. This is inside it. It's not going to be too clear there. It's going to be overcast. This is the Independence near the Arco Bull Ring. The best hot donuts are all around the Arco. They make them fresh right there. Tomorrow, you want to stop for a donut. That's the Arco Bull Ring. The Sheraton Hotel is one where you can go to the top and get a good view of the city. I prefer the Crillion, going up to the Sky Room to eat. You can see all of Lima. That's the Crillion. That's the Sky Room. Lima's a big, big city. Everything from the 3rd largest Chrysler plant in the world to the 2nd largest Chevy plant. They can make them so much cheaper here without unions. Keep going. Unfortunately, the terraces are still there. These people living on the sides, they don't have running water and electricity like you have on this ship. Do we have that on the ship? Yes. This is Miraflores. This is the drive you'll come down in your cabs and your buses tomorrow when you leave Callao and you're heading the 11 miles towards Lima. Traffic is going to slow you down a little bit. This is the beach at Callao. Get out of the beach thing. This time I want you inland, 11 miles. This is Pachacamac. This is some of my students. It's a little dry here. As you get below Lima, I think the word sand is more appropriate than anything else. This is Grande Azul. This is a working ranch. This is their cathedral or chapel. This is their food. This is their folk singer from Brooklyn. This is a goofball that's learning how to dance. This is Iron Belly dancing with Mr. Lieberman from Hollandale Beach, Florida. Equestrian demonstration. Cockfight. Equestrian land. Nothing, though, like Argentina when we get to it. This is Arequipa. Ica. More of Ica, I-C-A. More of Ica. This is Ic. San Marcos. Mount Miste. Now there's volcanoes in Ecuador. This one's near the border. This is the one that sold the 8,000 passes a year to people to come and watch it explode. And it hasn't exploded for 75 years. But they still make 8,000 passes and sell them. The mountains again. Oh, you've already seen this one and this one. And that's Christ the Redeemer and Sacsayhuaman. Keep going. Well, there I am, good-looking guy, watermelon shirt. More of Cusco. More of Cusco, Cusco, and a little more of Cusco. Seeing how we're not going to Cusco, we're skipping through that one fast. Up this afternoon, more of Lima. Church of El Belen, the railroad to go to Machu Picchu. You gotta, you'd enjoy this. It was real. You want to get with the native culture? This would get you there. The highlands, that's up there. That's Machu Picchu, right up there. There's a better shot of it. Upper Picchu, keep going, keep going, keep going. You're looking down at Machu Picchu. The terraces, how they make them. You wouldn't believe the stonework here. The road that goes from Machu Picchu down. You'd be regular for at least a month after this. You wouldn't have to eat prunes with that guy over there. Anyhow, folks, I want you to get out there tomorrow. I'll be in the atrium to help you if you're doing cabs and stuff. The ones that are on tours, you're going to get your money's worth tomorrow. This is the best one to get tours. If you guys haven't got one and you still can get some of the ones, Pachacamac, Plaza de Armas, they call it Plaza Mayor, Plaza San Marcos, anything that has La Cojera Museum. There's a bigger museum on anthropology. There's one room that's all XXX rated. You will, ladies, enjoy that. Guys, I wouldn't go in if I was you. And that's what I do. I take the school teachers, I let them go in. And I stay outside with the guide and the bus driver, and we laugh. Because their laughter starts into shrieks. Anyhow, I want you to know this is the cradle of indigenous civilizations where you're going tomorrow. You can see and touch more than any other stop on this itinerary. I really look forward to you coming back and telling me what you found, and we'll share. Yes, sir? You can use anything you want there. I suggest changing to the souls. I suggest changing that. If you're going to barter on the street, you don't want to be shown with any 20s. I want the wallets in the right front pocket, just out of safety. Ladies, I can't catch them anymore. So unless your husband really can turn, the 40 in 5 seconds flat, I doubt that. But put the possessions up in the front where nobody can bump and dip. That's a famous thing in Colombia. They actually have a college in Medellin, Colombia, that teaches the bump and dip. But we're not in Colombia anymore. We're in Peru, and it's a lot different. There's Indians. You want something? Oh, Dr. Daddy's doing his last presentation today. You forgot to tell me that in the beginning, didn't you? At 4 o'clock, up on deck 13, he's going to show you what to do with cameras when they get old, like him. Anyhow, I'll be up in the Windjammer at 1. I'll be on television tonight with the cruise director about Peru. I'll be waiting for you down in the lobby tomorrow. Have a good day and see me later to ask questions. You can come down here, but they're doing a rehearsal, so we're getting out early.